All right, welcome back, everyone. Youngzers, I think episode 5. I'm not sure, lost count. Five's too high for me to count. But today we got a lot. We got a lot of Steelers, a lot of Pirates. Welcome back, Dan. Big announcement. Full-time member now. Electric Performance. Also, we got Roberts here, Andrew here, but special guest, local Jags fan to talk about the preseason game. We got Josh here. So welcome, Josh.
Hello, nice to join y'all.
Josh is the rare breed of the Jaguars, Pirates, and Penguins fan. So, two of the three of probably the longest suffering fan bases in professional sports. I don't know why anybody does that to himself, but hey, he sticks with them. So, I've seen the mass collection of Jags jerseys he has, and it is truly incredible. Some of the names popping up. If we ever do a random athlete, NFL wise, that would be at 100%.
See, at least the Jags, though, unlike the Pirates, are willing to spend money. I mean, they still suck, but they spend money. They're willing to rip.
Yeah. Roberts, anything from you before we start? Like the visor?
Good afternoon, boys.
He looks like the coach.
Come out of your head.
He looks like the coach from Blue Mountain State. That's who Roberts is.
He does. Nothing new.
Right.
Let's get after it, boys.
All right, let's get after it. We got Steelers preseason. Beat the Jaguars by 1 point, 16-15. What do we got? Start off with the quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Let's start with
QBs.
Yeah.
So, I was really impressed by Kenny Pickett. I mean, still small sample size, but he's looking strong. He's looking confident. Even the receivers after the game, they're saying Deontay Johnson. They're saying he's comfortable back there. Pat Freiermuth giving him all the credit in the world. So, I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he looked the best out of the three quarterbacks. Just putting it into perspective, Mitch Trubisky was running for his life most of the night. So I'm not really knocking Mitch here at all. He didn't really get a fair shake. He looked solid with the plays he was making with his legs. Mason Rudolph had a really good game, but look what he was playing against. Second half against mostly, third stringers. He did what he should have done as a backup quarterback. He dominated that aspect of the game there. But at this point, it does look like it's a two-man show between Trubisky, probably 1, Pickett 2, and they can keep Mason as a backup, or this was maybe an audition to see if they can get a 5th, 6th round pick for him in the trade market. That's what I saw.
Yeah, even Tomlin's talking him up. He's saying Mason Rudolph is a varsity starter playing against JV guys. So, I mean, you have him playing a whole second half. But I was impressed with him. I think he looked comfortable for what he was up against. I didn't think he did bad. He looks like a safe option right now. He's not appealing to the eye. And I don't think people of Pittsburgh really like him, but I think he's a solid option. I mean, I'm not going to rag on him anymore. I think he's solid.
Solid doesn't cut it in the NFL, though. You know what I mean? If you're a bridge quarterback, sure. Or if you are a backup, fine. You could be solid. It just comes back again to he was playing against third stringers, and that's what he's supposed to do. He's been in the system. He knows what he's doing. Earlier in the week, he was upset that they let him on, so to say. But if you were good enough to start and be the starter and you beat out the other two guys, great. We're in a good situation. We're in a great situation. But he's not. He needed to propel himself so much further above Mitch and Kenny, and I just think if he plays just as good as them, he's not the option for them. It's a 2-horse race right now, and it's Kenny and it's Mitch, and there's even rumblings that Coach Tomlin might talk himself into making Kenny Pickett the Week 1 starter, possibly.
I don't know if he could be the Week 1 starter. The offensive line looked so bad last night where if you start him Week 1 with an offensive line that's that bad, I think that will hurt his development more than, do anything good for it. So it's almost like if the line's that bad, dude, you kind of just sacrifice Trubisky and have him start and let Pickett develop until you can shore up that line. But, talking about Mason, the backup and everything, he will never be a Chaz Batch. So Mason needs to learn his place. Chaz Batch. He'll never be a Bruce Gradkowski.
Never.
No.
Speaking of running for your life, too, that's what Joe Burrow did all last year, and I'd say he's more talented than Pickett. So, Burrow ended up getting hurt, so I don't know how well that would end up for Kenny.
In his rookie year?
Yeah, he got hurt. He's running for
his rookie year. Yeah.
Not last
year.
So,
I mean, but there's anybody you talk to, the worst you could get is if he turns out to be a Joe Burrow. You hear those comparisons. Do I agree with it? No, but I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
But how do you get any more? You need to get reps. You need to cut your teeth eventually. The line's not always going to be great. To develop an offensive line, it's like a slow cooker. It's not like an Instapot. You know what I mean? It takes years to get a solid offensive line. That's why a lot of people forget that we were blessed with a quarterback for 18 years, but our offensive line was solid for 7 years.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Solid.
Yeah. Robert's thoughts, quarterbacks?
I was going to say, Dan just took the words right out of my mouth. Blessed for an offensive lineman that was pretty much 4 staples every year, and now it's ragtag, throw it out there and see what you get. It's not good. But
Just gotta learn.
Kenny looked good. Mitch, I mean, scrambling. But Mason, he was playing against third stringers. Do what he's got to do.
Yep. Josh, what did you see from the quarterback standpoint?
I'll tell you what, no matter what quarterback it was, Kenny or Trubisky playing behind that O-line, I was impressed actually with both of their just the presence, knowing when the pockets were collapsing. Now, Trubisky's obviously faster, more mobile than Kenny, so I say I don't care if Kenny's looking better. You throw Trubisky out there right now starting. I personally have seen it myself. I thought Blaine Gabbert was going to be a good quarterback. They threw him out there behind a terrible Jag line that makes the one the Steelers had last night look like an all-pro team. You do that, you throw Kenny behind that, he's going to get happy feet, and it's he looked amazing though on that final drive. What was it, 76? He went like 6 for 7. The only incompletion was clocked, and he was going against mainly a Jag starting group, and that was maybe the only drive of the game I think that Jacksonville really didn't get pressure. The only play I think they did was the holding call on the touchdown to Deontay Johnson. I think got called back. Now I don't know who on the Steelers was holding. They didn't announce. I know they announced for the Jaguars who was holding, so I don't know if it's iffy or not. But I mean, he had presence. I just would be afraid of throwing him out right now, and get happy feet with that O-line, especially the left side of that was just crumbling no matter what. They threw Daniels out there for a little bit. They threw, I'm trying to think of the other one they threw out, but they basically had 2 or 3 starters out there, and they threw them out. Tom threw them out all 3 quarters to try and get reps.
Oh, yeah.
Almost the entire game, they did not look good at all on the left side. So I would be really, I really would not want to throw Kenny out there right now. Just, to stunt his development, even if he looks good.
Well, we can quickly roll Dan Moore out from holding anybody because he was just looking like a New York City subway turnstile all night. So I don't think he was even quick enough to grab somebody as they were going by him or just bullying them. But do you think last night? So the Seahawks defense, especially the defensive line, is not very good. Do you attribute last night to more of the Steelers O-line being that bad, or the Jacksonville front being that much better? What would you say? And that's like something we really don't have that perspective as Steeler fans about Jacksonville's front seven. We know the names, we that, but what do you think, Josh? Do you think it was a combo of both, or was it just one or the other?
I think it was a combo of both, and I think what Jacksonville was doing more or less is they just kept attacking the left side. They kept on throwing out. They were alternating like Arden Key, Trayvon Walker, who's actually looked like, I was worried about Jacksonville drafting him 1 overall, but so far in the preseason, he's actually looked like the guy who should be a number 1 overall pick. And Josh Allen, and I think the other one was Dewan Smoot towards the end of it, like towards the end of, the starters. I think they just kept on picking on that and just putting fresh legs out there. So I don't necessarily think the Steelers line is that bad. I think Jacksonville has a revamped front seven, and I think they're going to be good. I know in the preseason game they played against the Browns when they had the starters out, they stuffed the run game. They're not necessarily the best at pass rushing, so I think it's kind of a combo right now of maybe they don't know what they're doing on the left side of the the left side, which is kind of bad when you only have 2-3 weeks left until first game of the season.
Yeah,
2. Yeah, there's 1 preseason game left, right?
Yeah.
It's going to boy them.
Well, and you look at the Steelers line too. They signed Mason Cole and James Daniels, which there's your center, there's your right guard. Chuck's at right tackle was pretty established heading in. So really the left side of the line, Dan Moore looked okay as a rookie last year, but he needed to take a big step this year. And then that right guard battle, Kendrick Green has been getting the starting nod. Kevin Dotson hasn't been available, so by necessity, It's been Kendrick Green. So that left side of the line, like it really was exposed last night, and especially what Josh said about them loading up that left side and just attacking it. It was pretty evident that that's where the weak side of the Steelers line is. There's no doubt about it.
And that's the worst side of the line to have, the weak side. That's your backside. Excuse me, sorry. Your back's turned to that, so you got to feel that pressure. You got to feel that pocket collapse. But I saw a couple plays where Kendrick Green looked like he was in a blender. He was just all over the place. And guys are blowing past him. They're bull rushing him. He couldn't play center, and now he can't play guard. I really hope Dotson gets healthy and gets back out there, because he had a phenomenal rookie year, and it was his second year he was okay too. But he kind of fell off, so there shouldn't even be a battle for that left guard position, but there is, because Dotson's hurt, and he's kind of lackluster right now as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's an absolute mauler when he's out there playing. Like, he was honestly his rookie year, one of my favorite linemen on that team to watch. Last year is like he took a little step back, and then this year you're battling Kendrick Green, which, no offense, but you should not be in a position battle with Kendrick Green on the offensive line if you're in the NFL.
Like Mike Tomlin says, he's a road grader. That's a Tomlinism for you. I'll throw one out there. And that's what Dotson is, but he's just not healthy. And I don't know if he was dealing with an injury last year or just kind of disengaged, but you hope that he comes back and finds that spark he did his rookie year, because he, like Tomlin said, was a road grader. The guy was moving people.
So is that why you think the run game was so bad last night, too? Because, I mean, you can't have Mitch Trubisky being your second leading rusher at 10 yards. I mean, you can't have that. It's just so pass-heavy. Do you think they're still trying to find the starting quarterback, that they're just focusing just all on passing, or do they know the run game's that bad without Najee Harris here?
Probably, yeah. I mean, after Najee, it's a pretty big drop-off. I mean, I had my initial 53-man roster, and one of the updates I did was Benny Snell. I think he sticks around maybe as the third down back now, but Jalen Warren's looked really good. Every time he touches the ball, he seems to get positive yards. He runs hard. Him and Snell, special teams, I think that kicks McFarland off the roster, because he didn't have a very good game last night. He looked good in that first preseason game. He was running with an edge. He was, hitting the gaps he needed to, look real, and then, it's like Jekyll and Hyde with him. One game he's good, one game he's, it's just not always there. So I think, after Najee, obviously there's a big drop off, but I'd say they know by now that Trubisky is going to be the starter and Pickett will probably be the number 2. But I think there's just so many issues on that offensive line, trying to get the cohesiveness, to come to, like Dan said, it's not an instant pot. It's going to take time, and that's something that, especially with a lot of divisional games early on in the season, that you can't afford to have. You need that. You can't be having position battles going into the last week, especially on the offensive line. That's usually reserved for, all right, we have our starting linebackers. We're going to see who's going to be backing up, who's making the roster. You don't want a position battle on your blind side, too, especially for any of the quarterbacks. So that's going to be a big problem.
With the line being so bad, I think that even makes a case for Mason to not even be on the team anymore, because he's not a mobile quarterback. He stands in the pocket. He's just going to get killed. So what's the point of even keeping him?
Here's my question is, why is it the tale of two games? The first game, they couldn't pass block, and everyone you talk to are like, oh, well, they're better at the run. They're better at run blocking. Then they what did they go? 14 yards for 24 yards. Carries last night? Or do I have that reversed?
14 for 24 yards.
14 for 24. So how do you they're going to be able to run block, but if you ask me, they weren't able to. And I don't care if you have Najee Harris back there. I don't care if you have Barry Sanders back there. Well, maybe Barry be able to make something happen. But, I mean, Najee's a great athlete, right? Is he really going to take those 14 carries and turn it into 100 yards? No. If you're lucky, he gets 60 out of those 14. 50 out of those 14, if you ask me, with how bad that blocking was. And I just can't wrap my head around, well, they're better at the run block. They'll run block just fine, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Going back at it, do you think picking Najee was stupid because we don't have a line for it? Or do you think the line will be better in a couple years before we run him into the ground? Because the career length for running backs isn't that long, and if he's going to be getting run into the ground like this with this kind of line, I don't think his is going to be any longer.
it wasn't a bad pick. That's the perfect pick to make then because he's best athlete available. And you just got to go out and spend some money on some offensive linemen. Really, I mean, who else were you going to take there at that spot?
I mean, I've seen a lot of people want to take Creed Humphrey, the Chiefs center that was, I think, taken the second round last year. But you take him. The Najee pick shapes out. I'd much rather have Najee and Freiermuth than. They were talking about Tevin Jenkins, getting drafted by the Steelers, who's had a back problem. He might get traded from the Bears in his second year. There's a lot of stuff. You can go back and look at it, whatever. Najee was the pick last year. It allowed them to get Pat Freiermuth, which the offense is loaded with weapons now. They went out, they spent some money on the offensive line this year, but you also need, like Kendrick Green. That's going to, I think, just be a whiff of a pick. It's going to be up there with the Devin Bush, Jarvis Jones, Fardy Burns.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be right up there with all of them.
All right, Robert's thoughts on the line or running back situation?
Benny Snell, he impressed last night. I watched a lot of the game last night. Caught a couple passes out of the backfield.
Yeah, his rushing wasn't that good. Didn't he have 3 rushes for -2, or was it 2 rushes for -3? I can't remember, but
then I saw McFarland. He got blown over 3 or 4 on pass blocks. He just couldn't hold his own.
I mean, he's 5'8", like 150, soaking wet, I think. So, yeah, he got ripped off the field like a Mr. Yuck sticker. So I don't know about that. But Josh, what do you see on the running back side of it, at least for the preseason game?
It confuses me. I'm looking at it right now, and you have 7, 8 different running backs. I mean, Benny 3. I don't know if they're what they were doing, but I figured they would maybe try to have some sort of consistency. I mean, I know Najee is going to be number 1. Try and figure out a number 2 to me. It didn't seem like it was there enough. Benny, they did get involved in the passing game, and he obviously had a great touchdown. Where he, I don't know who was the linebacker. I think it was maybe Chad Muma, the rookie. He kind of stiff armed and extended in, which is nice, but he's not like a power back, and maybe part of that is with the line right now. Najee with that line can do miracles. He can have a bad line and still do stuff. The one that surprised me, and I don't know if Matt Canada was calling at this point or who was play calling, and I understand, I think this was second, third stringers. Did he learn nothing from when, I can't even think of that. Who was he? He coached for the Chiefs. He was a Steelers offensive coordinator for the longest time. Terrible. He just called screen pass, 3 plays in a row.
Todd Haley, who get beat up outside Tequila Cowboy after the game.
Looked like somebody else outside Tequila Cowboy.
I know it's second, third stringers are trying to mix it up, but and it's preseason, I'll give him that. But I just saw that and was like, and just looking right now, every quarterback, I think, except for Mason, had a run. So you have 5 running backs, wide receiver with rushes, and then 2 quarterbacks, and there's just no consistency to try and figure out who could possibly be Najee's backup if anything goes wrong. I mean, that doesn't happen but if something like that were to happen, I don't see anything here where they have a clear number 2 or who maybe Jalen Warren is who they.
Yeah. Well, statistically too, you don't want to see Mason Rudolph outside the pocket because I believe if we're looking at the advanced sabermetrics, 50% of his runs outside the pocket end up with them unscrewing his face mask on the field and carting him off.
So that's a helmet swung at him.
So that's not something you want to see.
Looking like the Great Gazoo.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. All right. So is that it for the running game? I mean, there's really not much on it. Kind of embarrassing, honestly. But we'll move on to the receivers. Who are you guys impressed by? Personally, I thought Chase Claypool was out for 1 series, but he had an impressive catch. Shades of greatness, maybe. Great ball by Trubisky, too, by the way. But 1 reception, 29 yards. Not bad. What do you guys think?
I mean, Pickens was quiet this week. Offense, the receivers were quiet for the most part. I mean, Chase Claypool's catch was probably, aside from Freiermuth, had that big gain. It was, I didn't really put too much stock in especially what the starting receivers were doing this week. So, it was whatever.
Yeah. Dan?
Yeah, status quo there. I mean, Claypool, nice catch, perfect ball. If he would stop getting up, and I hate that. Act like you've been there, because that's what got you in trouble before in that 2-minute drill. You want to get up. Oh, I got a first down. Yeah, first. Stop it. And then was that Kenny put that ball on Freiermuth there? 30 seconds left in the half. A great ball. Perfect route too. I mean, he ran himself open on that route. I kind of blown coverage, I guess, but yeah. For the most part, receivers were quiet, but those two stand out. Those two plays.
And Kenny's willing to take the hit there too. You don't see that a lot from young guys.
Stand right in the teeth of the defense. Barreling down, but gotta take the hit to make the play.
All right, Roberts. What about you?
Nothing. Deontay, like usual, but you guys still up Chase Claypool. Looks like that guy. Hopefully, a big year. He's expecting 1,300 yards. They said on the telecast. I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah, and I was expecting to win the $1 billion lottery, but I guess those both aren't going to happen because he's not. If he gets 1,300 yards, that'd be phenomenal, but I don't see that happening.
No. You taking the over the under on that, Roberts? If you're a betting,
under.
If you were a betting man.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'm not a big bettor, but
looks like you just got off a 10-hour shift on the blackjack table. That's what the visor.
That visor, yeah.
Yeah, it's not good, man.
Are we sure he's just hasn't been in Vegas for the past month? And I don't know if you've been in Indy. You might have been, World Series of Poker. I don't know, playing with
something here.
Bill Kessel. I don't know.
Baccarat or something, huh? Mississippi Stud. You a stud guy?
No.
Oh. Roulette table.
No.
You just strictly blackjack 21.
The BJs.
Go play some stud. You'll love it. Mississippi Stud. I'll take you down to Rivers. We'll go play.
Maybe September 1st. You can stop it.
That's fine.
I won't be sober, but it'll be good.
I worked that night. Sorry.
But no, that's about it.
Yeah. Josh, what did you see from the receiver side? Anyone impress you?
I mean, Chase Claypool's catch over Trey Herndon was pretty spectacular. I mean, that was probably the prettiest ball I think Trubisky's ever thrown. Other than that, George Pickens, 2 catches, 6 yards. I think his trouble Campbell, but I don't even think coverage really mattered there because you guys addressed. Trubisky, most of the game was luckily he wasn't getting his brains beaten in by the defense. He was kind of just pocket closing and then running and just tossing it up. So I'm not going to really knock Pickens on that at all because it wasn't his fault. He wasn't getting the targets there. I would have liked to see from him especially after all the highlights in camp and what I see in Seattle. But there's no knocks there on him.
Did we lose the Motzes?
I don't think so. Can you hear me?
Okay. No. You guys were frozen there for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you guys you weren't moving.
We're just standing really still. Yeah. All right. So that's all I got on the offense, really. If you guys any last thoughts on it.
I was gonna say something. Trevor Lawrence, I will say, if we're going, the game, Trevor Lawrence is looking good. Looks like he's about to take that next step from year 1 to year 2.
Do you have a Trevor Lawrence jersey, Josh?
No, because every rookie I get a jersey of somehow gets injured, hurt, whatever. Last brand new rookie jersey I got is Jalen Ramsey. He twisted his ankle, and then obviously we know what happened there. This year I get Devin Lloyd because I didn't want to jinx Travon Walker. He's been out almost all preseason with the calf injury.
So should you be publicly apologizing to these players that you're buying their jerseys, and it's basically they know they're going to blow a knee out or something at that
point? Like the Madden curse?
I tell you what, I think it started pretty good, scheme going on. Whatever team wants me to curse a player for a week, send me the money and I'll buy their jersey.
I got it.
That's actually...
Go buy a Watson jersey. I want that guy out of the league.
Yeah. We don't need him near the training tables, allegedly. I don't know. We don't want him hurt. We don't want him hurt.
They had the national massage convention in Cleveland a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. No, he should have been. That's a whole different can of worms. It should have been a year at least for him. I mean, come on, have some common sense.
He was salivating like a butcher's dog when he heard that they were gonna. That's why he signed there. I heard he caught wind.
Oh.
They had it posted months in advance. They're like, oh, I need to go to that national massage convention there in Cleveland.
I mean, it kind of would make sense because no one willingly goes to Cleveland to play football. So that there had to be something up there. But yeah,
that's it.
He's still suspended for less games than he should be. It's whatever. I mean, it's not whatever, but what can anybody do? The ruling's there. I just think it's an embarrassment, but we'll move on from that.
Yeah. All right, let's go over the defense side. We'll start D-line. What do you guys see D-line wise?
DeMarvin Leal had a sack, so good game for him. The defense line, status quo. I mean, nothing really stood out there. It's pretty much set. You have Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, Tyson. Yeah, you got all those guys. You got the depth pieces. There's not too many battles there. It just probably depends how many they keep. But I'd say that's probably one of the Steelers' most solid positions going into the year.
Yeah, they got those three, and then you're going to put Wormley in there to give a guy a blow here and there. And I think that's going to play well for the depth pieces. You got Wormley, and I can't remember who else. But they'll come in, keep fresh legs going, keep stopping the run, get some pressure on the quarterback if they can. Status quo. Yeah,
you have Wormley, like you said, Isaiah Loudermilk, DeMarvin Leal.
Loudermilk, yeah.
Hopefully no Henry Mondo.
I love that name, though.
It's a phenomenal name for a defensive tackle. And a little foreshadowing, random Pittsburgh Athlete of the Week will be a defensive lineman for this week, and it is going to be phenomenal. But, I don't want to brag, but I got Najee Davenport won the poll, so I'm 1-0 on the year. The dump truck comes away with another victory. dropped his load for a first place finish. Love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, defensive line. Would you say 97 yards on 30 attempts rushing? You think that's all right for them, or?
Yeah. Because I mean, if you look, 30 attempts, that's a lot. That's a lot in a pass-heavy league now. A lot of teams don't go to the run, but that's a lot of attempts. 97 yards, that's not bad. What's the math on that? Let me do. Somebody else.
3 yards per carry.
3 yards carry. That's not terrible.
That's
not terrible.
3.1.
Yeah. So, did they break any big ones to inflate that average? Because I mean, you got to look at that too. Because I don't remember one getting busted off or anything. So if you take it 3 yards a pop, I can live with that.
Looks like the longest was 12 yards by Trevor Lawrence. So I mean,
who do you think Josh is starting at running back for Jacksonville? Because I saw James Robinson's going to be ready for Week 1, but do you think ETN starts?
I think ETN gets a start, whether J. Rob's healthy or not. He just looks explosive out of the hole. He's not necessarily what I call a power back. I think he's kind of small, 6'1", 6'2", maybe. He's more slender. If they're going to use a power back right now until J. Rob's 100% healthy, it's going to be Snoop Connor, who kind of had some nice runs towards the end of the game, maybe 3-4 yards here and there. But then once the Steelers, at the end of the first half, their defense kind of got caught on a little bit and started stuffing the run. So, and that was without Cam playing. I don't think Cam played last night.
No. I think he's the only one. Did Larry Ogunjobi play either?
Yeah.
He did, because they're getting around blocks pretty easily too. I think there's one play he got around one pretty well, so that was a good sign. But Roberts, any thoughts on the D-line?
Nothing. I just see all the McDermotts and everybody else in Pittsburgh sharing the same meme on Instagram, so we got to stop that here. It's
what?
The TJ Watt meme. It's
breaking the ice. Oh yeah.
I mean,
I didn't see it. Now I got to go look at it.
Nah, the Steelers all they did was post hey, TJ Watt looked like he was giving someone a German suplex or something.
Oh, okay.
That's basically it. But was it Trevor Lawrence? Was it that play? Yeah. So let's move on to linebackers then. So I was impressed to see TJ Watt back, business as usual, get a nice sack on Trevor Lawrence. Thought he was going to do the kick celebration, but he held back. He kept it classy. He saw it as a preseason game, so he held back a little bit. What do you guys think?
Well, it was nice to see number 10 overall pick, Devin Bush, get 3 tackles, up from his grand total of 0 last year. So, that quote he had during the week, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be in the NFL next year. I wouldn't be so sure of that because you're on the same path as Artie Burns where he may be fighting for a roster spot with the Seahawks next year. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, come on. That's the most tone-deaf response I've heard. You have the green, we talked about last week, you have the green dot. You're supposed to be the leader of this defense, and you literally just don't care. I thought Mark Robinson had a really good game last night, and right now I would say it's former Jacksonville great Miles Jack. Sorry, Josh. At the inside linebacker position, freight train Bobby Spillane, and I mean Mark Robinson maybe making a push. Throw him in the mix. He got that dog in him. Devin Bush apparently doesn't. I'd say you start throwing whoever into that backup job there, because one of them's willing to tackle, one of them's not. And as a linebacker, boom. That makes your decision that much easier. I don't care if you invested how many draft picks into trading up and taking him. At the end of the day, if he's not putting the effort in, not giving you and the team the best chance to win, to hell with where you drafted him. Play who's willing to go in there and make the dirty plays.
Yeah. Even just like attitude-wise, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, that just goes to show you don't care about where you are now. You really don't care about how the season's going to go. So why even make that guy one of your defensive leaders? He doesn't care. That, like, from a coaching position, I wouldn't even give him the green dot. That'd be off his helmet, like, ASAP. What do you guys think?
For me, I heard that, and I listened, like I said earlier, to Sports Talk Radio when I'm at work, and they replayed it. So I had to go on Twitter and watch it, and it kind of made my skin crawl. It like pissed me off. Right? You're sitting there, you're chewing your gum, looking down at the ground. You ain't even looking at any reporters in the eyes. That just shows that you just don't have it, and you think that you're so entitled that I'll still be in the league. No, you won't. If you're not performing now, and the Steelers cut you, release you, they didn't pick up your fifth-year option, so they're not going to re-sign you. You're an unrestricted free agent, whatever you want to call it. Nobody's going to want to take the chance on you because you have an attitude problem. You think you're entitled. You act like you're the God's gift to earth, and you don't even want to go stop the run. You want to be passive. You want to get caught up in the wash. So to me, it's an attitude thing, big time, and that's not somebody that I want in my locker room. Number one. Number two, leading my defense. Because that is like we said last week, that's the quarterback of the defense, and that's a big role. And everybody's going to look to you for assignments and all that. If you're not there mentally, and you just think you're entitled, and your athleticism will get you to the point. Sometimes it will, but it hasn't for him. And I'm so over Devin Bush. I'm so over it.
And look at the comparison between Terrell Edmonds, who they didn't pick up his fifth-year option last year. He knew he was going into the season playing for his next contract. And as much as people say he's a bust, he was drafted too early. There's no doubt about that. But I have never had a problem with Terrell Edmonds, because that is a guy who's up in the box. He's making the plays. He may not be he's no Minka Fitzpatrick, but he's a solid player who comes in, busts his ass, has a good attitude, and he's a team player. And then you have Devin Bush in the same exact scenario as he was last year, not giving a shit about him being in Pittsburgh. He's looking forward, I'll be somewhere next year. I wouldn't be so sure of that. A team will take a flyer on you just because of your pedigree and what could be. But if you keep this attitude up, you keep playing like the way you are, you're not going to be in the league, that much longer. It's not a given. There's 8 guys behind you on any given team that want to take your spot and will put in the work for that.
Mm-hmm. It comes back to me is like the comparison. You gotta, like you said, to Terrell Edmonds, but I think of Bud Dupree, right? Bud come out, they didn't pick him up, his 5th year up, and he came out and he played his ass off, and he went and got paid. Now, does it help that you have T.J. Watt, you have a defensive player of the year on the other side, so you got a dynamic player on the other side, so maybe you don't get as much attention by you don't get the best tackle on that side because you're on the front side, you're on the right side, so you're not going to get the best tackle. But regardless, he came out and he busted his ass. It's back to the entitlement, and he just thinks, like you said, his pedigree is should keep him in the league, and it shouldn't. It just shouldn't.
Yeah, Roberts, what do you think?
I've been saying it every week. Get rid of the guy. The guy stinks.
We can propose a Devin for Devin swap. Devin Lloyd to the Steelers, Devin Bush to Jacksonville. What do you think?
I veto that right now.
Josh, if you could do us a favor, could you buy a Devin Bush jersey?
If you send me the money, I will do something.
Give me your Venmo.
Sort of ramen cigar, sort of prayer over his. I don't know if, instead of Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball, if I need to say Devin Bush make a play or a tackle, I can do that.
You'll be like the voodoo doll that will just send random shit to and like tell you to order.
Apply, and I will do it.
You're gonna have random jerseys just showing up on your doorstep if that actually does happen.
That's right. You can always just go pick out Rio's closet, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping he turns it around. Like, each week, it just seems like it keeps stacking on, like, just making me dislike him more and more. But I just can't get behind him. Like, it's going to come to a point where I just can't even root for the guy. Like, and it's just preseason. The real season hasn't even started yet. But, I mean, he did have, 4 tackles. So, big upgrade, too, like you said. That's all I got on the linebackers, really. Bobby Spillane. He led the way with I think he had 8 tackles, but I mean, not bad. So, what are you moving on to next? DBs.
Secondary.
Going to DBs, secondary. Who wants to start?
Business as usual back there too. Nothing really stood out. Trey Norwood didn't play as well as he did in the first preseason game, but I really don't think that matters. But I mean, it's pretty much set aside from. Maybe, with the Killebrew being hurt most of camp and Carl Joseph out for the year with Anthony Miller, that's kind of a blow to the depth there in the secondary. But I still don't see Justin Lane making the team. I don't see any undrafted rookies making the team. I think James Pierre kind of has a firm hold on that last corner spot. And then it's Minka, Terrell Edmonds, and you got some of the safety depth behind them. But I think that's pretty much set too.
Justin Lane did have an interception. That might have been the worst thrown ball I've ever seen in my life. Josh, what do you think? Who threw that? Who's your third string?
EJ Perry. I think they signed him from USFL, or he just graduated.
Nerf football league, I think.
Put that on the trophy case if that means anything to you. Getting preseason interception from EJ Perry.
Yeah, I mean I think was it a curl route or he threw the ball to the right, 10 feet behind him, and Justin Lane just standing there.
I think it was a curl inside, and he threw it 20 yards outside to the sideline.
Yeah. Either way, it wasn't even close.
So he pulled the old Blaine Gabbert. He turned into Blaine Gabbert there for a second and just threw a horrible interception.
Yeah, I saw that live and honestly thought at first the ball I thought it went to the sideline and then I see him return. I'm like, I don't know what you were seeing, my guy, but that is not.
Ain't that Chief?
It did look. Did you guys feel like the Steelers' secondary is getting picked apart though, kind of at the beginning? So that's what I did. Yeah, they didn't look too good. Yeah. But that was Trevor Lawrence. So was that the first string probably offense too?
Yeah.
I think the first string played almost the whole first half. I will say, though, Cam Sutton almost made an amazing interception. I know it's almost, but he led Trevor Lawrence that whole play, and I honestly was surprised it just went right through his fingertips on that.
Yeah, they're talking about how good of a ball that was and how you got to, throw it to the second tier of the defense or something, and there's, probably about a foot underneath that ball still, but, Cam Sutton was outreached the whole way. It was a good pass too. I'll give Trevor Lawrence all the credit. But
that was the jersey swap after the game. I don't know if anyone saw that. That might be one of the most lopsided ones. Trevor Lawrence and Cam Sutton jersey swap. I'm sure that's going right in the front of Trevor Lawrence's collection.
Well, Trevor Lawrence gave him the Matumbo too, though. He wagged his finger at him after, so that might have played into it a little bit. Yeah, he memed on him a little bit. Yeah.
I want to touch on that real quick, because that's the play I was going to actually bring up. I think if he jumps just a second later, he gets that, because he was already stretched out. He was already up there. I think if he waits one second, he read him like a book the whole way. He knew where it was going. Great pass, but I think if he waits another split second, he picks that off and he comes down with it. He was just at his apex already, and it was just over him. But other than that, secondary status quo.
Yeah. Roberts, anything else?
That's it.
Yeah.
Touched on everything.
Question for Josh. Better NFL career, don't think about it. Trevor Lawrence, Kenny Pickett.
I'm going to have to say Kenny, and the only reason I'm saying it is the Steelers have a history. Jacksonville, until they are not who they are, they are who they are, which is losers. They have had one winning season in like 13, 14 years. And until they, fix it, you just got to stay, being a loser. You are who you are until you prove otherwise.
But they did beat the Steelers in the playoffs that year, so a little bit of bragging rights for the Jags.
Leonard Fournette had more rushing touchdowns than Le'Veon Bell and Heinz Field that year. Just so you know, They are who we thought they were. The Jags were losers. They are who we thought they were.
That walks like a duck and quacks like a duck. It's a duck.
Yeah,
Jags.
Oh, one more note I had on Kenny Pickett. He embarrassed the starter so bad on the defensive side that Jaguars coach said he kept him out in the second half for a series too, I think. What happened there?
Yeah, he kept him out, I think, for the first series because he switched like maybe one or two starters on that final drive, just like, whatever. And it was a combination of Kenny playing really good, and then I think there's 49, 48 seconds left. I think they got the ball. There were I think Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen just were kind of lollygagging, and some were they just didn't take it serious until all of a sudden they got in the red zone and were oh shit, I know this is preseason, but we better, do what we need to do, and they didn't take it serious, and Kenny actually looked really good.
Well, we do have Doug Peterson on the call right now.
Wow.
I just had an epiphany. This looks like a young Doug Peterson.
The lettuce coming out of the top, yeah. All right,
you gotta flip that thing upside down and backwards there, bud.
Yeah.
Do you have a Carson Wentz jersey in your closet? I need to know.
There you go.
I mean, that's all I got on the Steelers. Any final thoughts?
Special teams, people are buying into the Chris Boswell miss. I don't see it, but the guy's been reliable, but
yeah,
it happens. It was his first kick of the year.
Yeah, I don't think he's a missed kick away from beating up a paper towel dispenser down at the Sheets in New Alexandria. I think we're pretty safe.
We're getting frosted tips.
The frosted tips for something else. I do have something to touch on. I'm going to switch the roles on you, Ryan. I'm going to ask a question because the national media gives a lot of love to certain coaches and that. Local media, maybe not so much. So, like I said earlier, I listen to sports talk radio when I'm at work, and overnight, JR on the JR Sport Brief, he always does a top 6 list every Wednesday and a Thursday. And this one was the top 6 coaches he would have coach his team right now, this year. And it went Shanahan 6, Vrabel 5, Reed at 4, Tomlin at 3, Belichick at 2, and Sean McVay at 1. Do you think... No, I know that the national media loves Mike Tomlin. Do you think we give him too much of a hard time because of his, not recent, but his lack of playoff success, the lack of winning in the playoffs? You have, one playoff win in 12 years, something like that. But you kind of hang your hat on the I've never had a losing season, which is tough to do in any sport, especially football. And then when you look at it, with playoff success, it sucks. But even to get there is tough because half of the playoff teams flip every year. There's not a lot of consistency there. So I just wanted to know if you guys felt like he was too high on that list, where you would rank him maybe on that list. Would you have him in your top 6? Do you want him to be, or is there a better coach out there that you would want to have?
I think, he gets a lot of undeserved grief from the Steelers fan base because, like you said, no losing seasons. He's consistently making the playoffs. And if you look at the baseline for him as a coach, he's probably about a 7.5, 8 out of 10 every year. And there's been years where he should have been, a 9 or a 10 where he hasn't lived up to his potential that his teams have. And I shouldn't say he has. And then there's been years, like a couple years ago, Duck Hodges, the quarterback, they still finished 500 where he should have been way down there, but he's elevating that team. So I think there's years where they definitely do underachieve a little bit, especially in the playoffs. But if you look across the NFL, almost every team would take him as their head coach in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Not much better. I think we all know Youngzers. They jump to the highest of conclusions. When something bad happens, it's always fire, insert name here. Get rid of whoever. So, we all give him a hard time. But he's a Hall of Fame coach, no doubt. And I think the Steelers have the farthest time in between losing seasons. I think it was 2005. So he's been there for fit 13 out of those years, maybe.
Yeah.
So impressive. I mean, I'll give him all the credit in the world. Hall of Fame coach. Love the guy. Roberts.
18 years consistency, man. The organization can't hate that. They're obviously doing something right.
Yep. Josh, what do you think? Outside perspective.
If Steeler fans want to complain and moan about, having Mike Tomlin as a coach, all I have to say is try having urban development for 13 games. Not even a full season, just 13 games. I made a joke this offseason when they were looking for a head coach. I said, we had the first overall pick. I had a list of coaches where I said, you know what? It comes to the point where I would trade this first overall pick I gave top 5 coaches just for culture change. Tomlin would be like a top 3 coach I would trade for a pick, like a number 1 overall pick, just because of the culture change. And I listened recently to the Pivot podcast, which is, I think it's Fred Taylor and Ryan Clark, and they said there is no player that they have ever played with who will not go out there and play their ass off from Mike Tomlin. Maybe Devin Bush. He said he is like the most beloved coach in the NFL. So that's where I stand. Like, as an outside perspective, I would kill to have that guy as a head coach in the NFL. He brings consistency.
Now, the only thing I have to question that is there have been rumblings that he's lost the locker room in the past. Look at the AB, with the FaceTime or the Instagram Live and stuff like that, Le'Veon Bell. And back then, that's the only time I think that you can blast Mike Tomlin for underachieving is when you have Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, you got to come away with a Super Bowl championship. One of those, because they were the number 1 receiver in the league, number 1 running back in the league, and Ben was like a top 5 quarterback in the league, and their defense was solid. So do you underachieve there? But then you look back to, like you said, Andrew, the Duck Hodges year, and you finish 500. You should be praised for that, which I agree.
I get that they underachieved with Bell, Brown, Roethlisberger in their primes, but there was a lot going on behind the scenes. I think that he had to use a lot of his energy. I mean, you had the whole Martavis Bryant, situation going there, and then who knows how crazy AB and Le'Veon were in the locker room, where he was probably trying to deal with that. And, I mean, that came to light as soon as they left Pittsburgh. So yeah. I give him props for even just managing to keep that under wraps. Whatever happened there, we'll never know. But even aside from that, that probably took some energy away from, obviously it's a huge distraction for a team, a coach. But they definitely underachieved those years where they were in their primes. But it's a tough situation just because of we don't know what was going on in that locker room. And, I wouldn't say it'd be as much losing the locker room as just trying to keep them in check. Because I think that was just beyond, if you try and get them in line, they were not gonna listen to anybody. So that's just a tough scenario for him to be in. But I think overall he played that really well.
And I think there's another local guy who called them the Toxic Twins for a reason. So I mean, if you take that into account, that's gonna wear on you, and you're gonna have to spend resources you wouldn't want to, mentally, and try and deal with that. I got you.
I mean, I'm just saying, under Tomlin, you didn't see a star receiver showing up to Latrobe in a hot air balloon with a frozen foot. So, I mean, I'll consider that a win.
True. That's what I was going to say. In the span of a few years after AB leaves, look what happened to you. He's riding a hot air balloon. Almost loses a foot. Crop dusts his masseuse or whatever, his doctor. And then he's throwing deuces.
Dick-sized candy, yeah.
he's throwing deuces up at MetLife Stadium half naked. So,
and he was throwing patio furniture off that balcony and hit a kid. But even before he left here, he was doing 120 on McKnight Road. Where?
And that was the worst. Where?
Yeah. Where do you do 120 on McKnight Road? Somebody explain that to me.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's all I got.
Looking back on that, what an absolute circus this dude is.
Just that one guy. He's a 3-ring circus by himself.
And think about the way he talked to John Gruden and the Raiders. Was it Mike Mayock, the GM? Just the stuff he was calling them and releasing voicemails and stuff. The dude just went loco.
Does he sign with Dallas?
No.
Said he wants to retire a Steeler.
That's the last thing Jared needs is AB running around. He had a better chance showing up at WrestleMania when he was in Dallas than playing for the Cowboys.
Royal Rumble 30th entrant. Yeah.
He'd be
That's AB's
scripted.
music.
He'd be scripted to win, but get pissed off and run out half naked, completely ruining the whole pay-per-view.
My God.
He drives in down the ramp going 120. Takes the whole ring out.
He'd be in a Money in the Bank match and use his hot air balloon to go up, get the briefcase, and take off.
But wouldn't be able to because he's got frozen feet.
As an idiot.
Yeah.
Final thoughts before we go to the weekly dumpster fire.
Let's just get right into this.
Get right into the Buccos.
We got the experience firsthand last night.
Oh, Jesus. So, embarrassing week for the Pirates. Embarrassing season at this point. 1-6 on the week. I think the only game they won was on a walk-off from Michael Chavis, the boy. I don't know. He's dumpster fire, too. We go to the game last night, and the special event was fireworks. So you have to stay the whole night. And ended up being 9-1. The slowest game of all time. 3.5 hours. It was bad.
I mean, the most exciting part was we had a fan run onto the field in the 9th inning, and it was absolutely electric.
Yeah.
Guy came in from center field. He's taken off right through after Eric Stout gave up God knows how many runs. He was just about as sick of it probably as the rest of the people there. He takes off, bullpen cops nowhere in sight. There's no police on the field. Crowd's going nuts. Gets to the first base line, and he stops. He realizes he can't get through the netting. He just gives up. Maybe the second worst attempt to elude the police besides Jose Taubata's ex-girlfriend stealing that kid from the Altoona hospital. That may be the worst getaway of all time. But the guy got booed because the cops convened on him. And he just gave up. He realized he couldn't get through the netting.
He didn't get on jukes and jives?
No. It just looked like his controller disconnected and he just stood there.
That's embarrassing.
If the netting wasn't there, that guy would have been gone. He would have been first across the field, done.
There wasn't a cop in sight. He had the perfect escape plan, but the netting did him in. He couldn't go anywhere. He just gave up. He looked around. He's confused, and then he just put his head and hands down.
Just defeated.
Yeah.
See, that's a damn shame that's the most exciting thing going on at a Major League Baseball game. Now, I listened to him overnight because I work night shift, and I was so upset I wasn't able to get to any games this week because I want to see Boston. I want to get up to Fenway, and I want to go to a Boston game. I've liked Boston Red Sox for a long, long time. And the one takeaway I have from this dumpster fire is when Brian Reynolds got ejected, you could tell that guy wants to win. He's sick of losing. I think he was quoted in saying after the game that he's just sick of losing, and you could tell. And it's as a person of that caliber, he's a leader on your team. He's your center fielder. For him to get upset and argue balls and strikes, get ejected, and then come out the next day, hit a 2-run home run in the first inning. He's been pretty consistent, and he's the most consistent in your team right now. But he shows he's got the passion to win. You got to help that guy out. You got to feel for that guy as well.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
You know what the biggest kick in the teeth is though? So after you lose 9-1, all the players are bringing their kids out to watch the fireworks. If I'm losing 9-1. Kids, you don't deserve fireworks. Daddy doesn't deserve a show. You're leaving. You're getting yelled at in the car on the way home. That's it.
Yeah, the last place Reg just shelled Daddy in the 9th for 5 innings. We gotta go. I can't stick around here any longer.
It's bellies for winners.
It's bad when even the workers there are making jokes about it. I'm in line to get a nice, refreshing beverage beginning of the game. Guy's like, I don't know if I can sell you any beer. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, you look pretty big. They may need you to play out there tonight. He's just making fun of the team. All the workers are laughing. The bullpen, they're growing a garden in the bullpen. They're throwing up jalapeno peppers and stuff to people in the crowd before the game. It's sideshow after sideshow just to distract from the abomination they're putting on the field. And I can't blame everybody there. I'd be sick of working there too. What's the point of go? It's just they get all upset about Dennis Eckersley this week, a hodgepodge of nothingness. Well, that's what it is. I weigh more than most of what their batting averages are, and that shouldn't be happening.
No.
Greg, no one wants to spend hard-earned money to go to the ballpark and watch Greg Allen hit 158 and strike out 4 times.
What about your boy?
Nobody
Van Meter. Josh Van Meter.
I didn't have to see it.
He wasn't a meter reader. That's the only place he should be.
Yeah, he should be a meter cop or something. I don't know. He's awful too.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. I have no more energy towards this team. I'm officially throwing the towel in. No positives.
I do have a final thought on the Buccos. One positive, their PR team, if they ever quit for the Pirates, somebody got to sign them because they're at least putting people in the seats.
Oh, yeah.
With the giveaways and the fireworks and all the drone shows and all that. I mean, their PR team is phenomenal. And that's a damn shame that your PR team is better than the product you put on the field. Because the product you put on the field should be able to sell, and it doesn't, but the PR team is able to sell tickets for you.
Yeah, I mean, you mean you're not going down to the ballpark to watch Tyler Beede throw 3 innings as a starter and get
No.
Yeah. I honestly, I think what they should do, if you give up a home run and it hits into the river, probably like last night, I think it's Fraley hit one into the river, the pitcher should have to leave the stadium and go fish it out of the river. Think about what he's done.
Yeah, I'd be new too. Watch him paddle.
I'd be calling for a righty out of the pen. I'd be like, all right, get out of here. Go find that. You find that ball, you can come back in the stadium.
It's not like people putting it in the McCovey Cove where, you got people out there. Like, people put it in the river in the Allegheny and nobody's out there to get it.
Yeah, no.
I'll go a step further. You make him put a little sailor suit on, too, that obviously doesn't fit him, like a child-sized one, have him paddle out. Robert's final thoughts. Pirates, Buccos.
I know somebody close to me that is still stressing a over-under bet of total wins this year.
Yeah.
Not going to give that name away.
Hopefully they took the under.
What was the over-under?
I think it's
63 and a half.
There's no way.
Well,
they're 47 right now?
Man.
They're 47 with how many games left? Probably about...
They're
They
47
have to go like
500.
They have to go 500?
I don't know.
Like that one guy says on that
that's all
betting
I know.
site, the best teams lose more than 62 and the worst teams win more than 62. So maybe.
Well, luckily for the under, Zach Thompson's still pitching every 5 days, so that's just an automatic. You don't have to watch a game. If you're someone who's into sports gambling and you see Zach Thompson as the probable pitcher for the Pirates, you may as well put your life savings on whoever they could be playing the Savannah Bananas or whoever that team is. It won't matter. This dude's just gonna get shelled.
If you see him pitching, it's to be like Tom and Jerry, but when Tom's like eyes roll in the back of his head, it just turns into $2 signs. That's honestly what should be happening.
Somebody's going to take your advice there, and then he's going to come out and pitch a gem. He's going to have like a no-no.
He'll throw
like a perfect game.
Yeah,
that'll
be what happens.
That damn Andrew McDermott.
It's beating a dead horse every week, because I think we say the same stuff. Cause
it's fun to beat up on them, because like it's our hometown team, and they're just such a pathetic franchise where it's not even like you can blame the players for being put in that position. It's just management throwing together this terrible roster, and like, if you're a mid-tier guy or even a low-tier guy, like most of the roster is like, hey, you're in the majors, you want to win, you're not being put in a position to win. It all comes back to Bob, spend nutting, get nutting. That's what it all falls on. And if you still believe they're going to be contending here in the next year, you're clueless.
Yeah.
Josh, any thoughts on the Buccos?
I just have to reiterate on the PR that he said they must have went to like the Jackie Moon School of Promotion, because they're of giving people free corn dogs to put butts in seats.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would buy season tickets if they were in a promotion where if a starting pitcher or relief pitcher gives up more than like 4 or 5 runs in a game, they have to wrestle a bear the next night. That's how they should be determining that bullpen. We'll see who can earn that spot whenever Eric Stout's in there getting slapped around by a grizzly bear. Mauled by a bear. That'll thin out.
It's a trophy. It's 15 feet tall.
Oh, damn. All right, moving on. College football. I really got nothing. 11 days till the backyard brawl for Pitt fans. 11 days till Purdue for Penn State fans. Sorry. And that's all I got.
Pray for Ryan Roberts September 1st. Yeah. That's all. Backyard brawl. He's going to be.
Pray for my liver and pray for everything I have.
Pray for the circus.
I said we should honestly pull our money together, buy a GoPro, and just strap it on Robert's head for the whole game just to see what is happening from his perspective. Because it won't be.
I have one. I can let him borrow it. It'll be a POV. It'll be right here. I got one.
Oh,
Jesus.
unreleased.
Or we could do the chest. Yeah.
One, yeah.
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 I just gotta get. Yeah, we'll get a chest mount for him.
If we get over 20 likes on the YouTube this week, I'm doing it.
All right.
How about it? Yeah, if we hit 40 subscribers on YouTube, we'll harness a GoPro to Roberts and send him into Acrisure Stadium against the Mountaineers.
All right, that's all I got on Pitt. Roberts, anything else from Pitt? Nothing?
Nope. 10 days, buddy.
All right. Penguins notes, they signed one guy from Boston College, but other than that, quiet. Don't care yet.
Didn't they something about that coach? What did they promote him?
Todd Reardon, yeah.
Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah, not much on them yet. They still have, about a month? I think it's September 25th or something they start. But
yeah,
we don't see much till then. All right, let's get into the weekly segments. We got Idiot of the Week. We got a few noms. Who wants to start?
I'll kick us off if we want to. Mine sounds like I'm heartless at first, but it involves, we were at Ocean City last week, and the Seinfeld.
Real quick.
Yeah.
How were the soft shell crabs?
Soft shell crab sandwich was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Chef's kiss.
Yes.
So, as the Seinfeld saying goes, the sea was angry that day, like an old man trying to send back soup at a deli. So there's people just getting ragged out all day. You can't go out more than 20 feet into the surf. And the only reason I picked this person as the Idiot of the Week, 3 teenagers walk by, and the ones, I don't know why there's not anybody out there. It's not even that bad. So, I'm sitting in my chair behind the lifeguard stand trying to relax, and I hear some lady going, "Hey, kid, come back in!" You look out, said kid who said the surf wasn't bad or anything, just getting dragged down the shore. Lifeguard has to go in, pull him back out, and he just looks like a dog that just got out of the groomers, soaking wet, just standing there, looking like a total clown. So, Idiot of the Week was the kid who said, the surf wasn't bad, don't know why they're not letting anybody in. Next thing you know, he's getting dragged like a Mr. Yuck sticker back to shore 10 minutes later. My immediate lock.
All right. Second, anyone else?
Yeah, I have 2 if you want them. Or you just want one?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah.
All right, so just one. So I'm going to have to go with this one. Went up to Grove City Prime Outlets yesterday. Father-in-law wanted to take kids up for school shopping. Okay, let's go up to Prime Outlets. Drive up there, get up there. We eat lunch, walking around. We're doing the shopping. I see they got a Zoomies there. The only other Zoomies I know about is in Ross Park Mall. So do you guys know what a Zoomies is?
It's like the skate shop kind of thing.
Yeah, but they got good apparel in there and stuff. Yeah. So I've wanted a Spitfire hoodie for a while. They had them in there. So I walk in, look at the price, $70, okay? And I also got this shirt. This shirt was like $27. I got 4 stickers to put on my hard hat at work. So I walk in, I'm bullshitting with the one guy who's working there. He's a cool cat. He's my Idiot of the Week. So, as I said, $70 hoodie, $27 shirt. I think the stickers were like $2 a piece, so $6. Let's round it up real quick in my head, $100. Okay. So I'm bullshitting with him. He tells me my total, 42 and some change. I said, okay, maybe something was on sale. I didn't even think about it. So I'm waiting there, take my card out of the card reader, and, I'm going to leave. And he's like, oh, your receipt. I was like, okay. So I get my receipt, and I'm walking out, and I'm looking at the receipt. There's the shirt. There's the 4 stickers, 4 stickers, whatever. He didn't ring up my hoodie. I got a $70 hoodie for free. So I'm walking out of Zoomies. And I look at Amanda, I look at my wife, and I go, we got to get as far away from here as we can, because I'm if he's like, hey, sir, I didn't ring out. No, forget you, bud. You just gave me a $70 hoodie for free. Idiot of the Week, guy giving away free apparel, that's $70 for free. It was like a donation.
Roberts, you got any?
No idiots this week, buddy.
Josh, you got any?
Yeah, I do. It would be LA Dodgers reporter David Vassay. The Dodgers were playing in Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, for those of you who don't know, have a giant slide where Bernie, their mascot, I think it's called Bernie Chalet, where he rides down this jumbo slide whenever the Brewers hit a home run. Idiot went down, lost control. hit the walls and stop at the bottom, broke 2 bones in one wrist and cracked 6. And then refused to really talk about it all week. And whenever people brought up, he kind of got pissed about, him being an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, the last time you saw someone come out of the Brewers Stadium that beat up was when Randall Simon got a hold of him with a baseball bat. So that's only the second worst time that someone's come out of there with some broken ribs, contusions, who knows what else.
How many times did he say, oh, crap, coming down that slide? Had to be 12. Oh, crap, the whole way down.
And he looked like a little kid that, has never seen a slide before and is just, letting himself go on it. You see the videos of these people, they'll go on that slide. They, know, all right, you'll put your feet out, and there's, a padded part. He just came flying around the turn like he was at Daytona and just slammed into it. No regard at all.
They're running 3 wide.
He started legs first, but he ended up neck first. He's like how do you do that? It's a kid's toy.
Come in, yeah. That's a tough look.
It's made for children. You're an adult, and you just broke 3 bones in your arm.
It looked like Peter Griffin falling head first out of his family room window. That's exactly what it looked like. Him just no regard for himself, and then he's here. He's just laying there in a heap at the bottom.
Well, I have a nomination, but I'd say it's more of an honorable mention. Like Andrew said, we're at the beach. But, if you're feeding seagulls at the beach, there's a special place in hell for you. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. You're enabling seagulls. Seagulls are the most worthless creatures. And literally, any society of a beach is in ruin because of you. Because seagulls are the most annoying things of all time. And they just swarm like anything. So, society's in ruin. But that's an honorable mention. So.
Did you ever see the video that those kids, they put laxatives in the food and then fed it to seagulls and they pooped on everybody? Now that's funny, but it's still wrong. I agree with you, Ryan.
That's wrong.
Not a good look.
Dan, do you have an honorable mention for Idiot of the Week where we could have a potentially 2-time Idiot of the Week?
If you want me to give it, yeah. So at work the other day, I walk into work and I was talking to my friend Joe Bordnero, and he goes, "Oh, you make it big time? You're full-time on the podcast?" I was like, yeah, they asked me, and, that's an offer I can't refuse, you know what I mean? So he's like, oh, you're going to become famous and rich and quit here? I was like, that's the plan, bud. So he's like, as long as you nominate Rio for Idiot of the Week every week, I'll get behind it. I was like, all right. I was like, but you got to give me something. He's like, oh, I got you today. So he tells me Rio's walking around Euro-stepping around everybody and trying to break people's ankles. Did Rio even play basketball?
No.
Yeah, the Leechburg courts.
So he's Euro stepping right around everybody. So in my line of work, we deal with some fine powders, and there's polished concrete on the one part of our building, and it gets real slick when you get carbon on the ground. It's like you're skating. So he went, and Joe was like, "Hey, Euro step around Nick." So he went to Euro step and lost control, and one leg went way further, and he went down in a heap thinking he pulled his groin or something. So he's going to be out 3 to 6, with core muscle surgery, I'm sure. But, what a jagwagon, just you didn't even play basketball.
Yeah, you can't be Euro stepping and blowing your groin out at work. That's just a bad look for anybody, let alone a previous Idiot of the Week. Yeah, and we were actually discussing this week where there's some controversy from last week's who ended up winning the Idiot of the Week. A lot of controversy there. We don't like to name names. Not too happy with his nomination, but we're thinking going forward, get some T-shirts made up. Idiot of the Week, and we're going to deliver them to some of these people that win. So Rio might have, like you said, a full closet. Might just be dedicated for Rio.
Every week.
He'll never have to buy merch. And I also heard that last week's Idiot of the Week, who won, wasn't happy because they had $15 in his wallet. Well, but that ain't $85 to pay for the whole golf outing, all right?
Yeah, you can maybe buy a mulligan with that. That's it's amateur, and I'm sure he'll listen to this because he's he's chomping at the bit to come after us. He wants to come on, and it's not going to end well for him because
he's tired. He's tired of the Mason slander. Get out of here.
Yeah, we have the mega powers on this podcast, let alone it's now a mix of the 4 horsemen. So it'll be like Doink the Clown coming on here. And it's just not going to end well for him.
It'll be Colin Delaney, if you remember him.
and Big A, Double A, Art Anderson just going to be suplexing him, the bodyguard, Yeah, you got some Ric Flairs out. Woo! But, yes.
All right, those are the idiots. And then we'll wrap up Pittsburgh Random Athlete of the Week, and then we're done. Who wants to go first there?
I'll go last today. We'll
All right.
mix up the order a little.
Roberts, you take the horn. Take it on this one.
I'll go first. I'm going back to the roots. I'm going with a nice bucko here. Ryan Domit. I shared.
That was I have two. That was mine.
Oh no!
Ryan Domit. Everybody forgets him. Solid catcher. Everybody loves him, but that guy's a random athlete of the week for me.
I dressed up as him for Halloween one year.
That's awesome.
That was mine. I got two though. Don't worry. All right. Who's next? Josh, you got one?
Yes, I do. And this came from a meme that I was cleaning out my phone, so this came from probably about 10, 12 years ago. It was from a Steelers-Chiefs Monday night game. There was a fan that had a sign, and it said, or maybe it was Sunday night, but it said Pittsburgh Sports Power Rankings. Number 1, Penguins. Number 2, Tyler Palko. Number 3, Penguins. Number 4, Pittsburgh Pirates. So I'm going to have to throw it out with Tyler Palko.
Tyler Palko. Oh, man.
That's a deep cut. All right, Dan?
Yeah.
What do you got?
So, real quick, I am just trying to get Pittsburgh random sport athletes with the weirdest names, and one popped into my head earlier this week. Chris Fu Matu Malafala.
I almost made him mine. I almost had him for this week.
When you told us earlier, but anyway, real quick, all-time sports name, I mean, in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
you know, you got Archimedes Caminera, and now you got Chris Fu Matu Malafala. So he just popped into my head, played the fullback. I mean,
yeah,
I don't really remember much about him, but, you know, that's mine. And I hope I can guess Andrews whenever he gives his. I'll let you know.
All right. I have a deep cut here. It's not a singular athlete. It's a group. So, does anyone remember in WWE whenever the whole Steelers offensive line was in the ring with Ben Roethlisberger?
Yes.
Well, like, what was going on there? Oh, that's just like randomly popped in my head. Like, that's an all-time Pittsburgh segment right there.
I believe Max Starks was in that group, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Who was Ben yelling at there, though? Because he I can't remember now. I'm going to have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I have no clue. That was my backup because I had Ryan Duffman.
All right. So I was going to do Chris Fumatu Ma'afala. That was my original one. And then I'm looking back and I'm like, I got to go with another blast from the past. This man was a cannonball that destroyed Carson Palmer's knee.
You son of a gun!
Chemo von Ohlhoffen.
I was gonna go chemo this week, and then I didn't. I was gonna use him next week. You dirty dog.
Oh yeah, Chemo von Ohlhoffen, the original. You know, he was the Randy Orton. He was the legend killer before that whole took place. That whole persona took place. I remember him just rolling into Carson Palmer's leg, blowing his knee out, and that was the end of the Bengals. So
Yes.
that was the only Chemo von Ohlhoffen play that I remember as a kid, but it was a significant one, and that is my random athlete of the week.
And he did it on purpose too.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Final thoughts. Great segment there.
Yeah.
Any fun?
Yeah. Can I ask you guys? Would you rather, real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather? Now they're on their prime. Take a fastball in the ribs by Randy Johnson, an uppercut from Mike Tyson, or get hit across the middle by Ray Lewis.
I'm taking the fastball.
Yeah, I'd have to eat the fastball. And my ribs would look like, was it him that hit the seagull?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
what my ribs would look like. But Ray Lewis, he'd kill me.
He killed a guy.
You'd have like
Allegedly.
the other two.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat a hit from Ray Lewis or Mike Tyson. I would look like, what was that, Rock'em Sock'em Robots? That's what I'd look like. Yeah, Mike Tyson hit me. My head would be gone. So I'd have to take the fastball, which, that would, no
It'd be
way.
easier because you see it coming, too. Like, you don't expect if you're batting to get hit, but, like, I think you could, like, brace it a little bit.
Right here. Just, you're
wide
open. Oh. I'm taking Ray Lewis across the middle.
Ooh, I don't know.
That's, like, the worst. No,
I got enough scrambled eggs up there. I'm good.
That's the second worst. Roberts, what do you got?
Probably take a nice Randy Johnson fastball.
Now, if it's to the groin, maybe that's a different story.
No, it's
Dude.
wrist.
Oh,
Like,
no.
I'm just saying.
Dude.
Just
Dude.
saying. All right, Josh, what are you taking?
I'm taking fastball. I think it's just when, like, I can't remember what roast it was, but Tyson held out just his hand and Steve-O jumped into it. His face got effed up, and Ray, whether or not I get killed or not, he's getting away with it.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, but you got to think of the eternal bleeding you're going to get from the big unit. You know what I mean? You're collapsing a lung easily.
I never said I had to get to first base after. I'm going to the hospital.
Fair.
Never said I had to get up.
Yeah, they're pulling the old Mason Rudolph card out for me. As soon as that thing hits, you can.
That
just
poor guy
strap
didn't even
me
get
on
a
there.
cart. Come on now.
I mean, he had the card option available. He was just probably so damn concussed that I don't know why they let him get up in the first place. If you look back at that, I think it's Zach Banner behind him. He's like, why are they letting this guy walk? Mason had
baby
no
deer,
clue.
fresh out
He
of
had
the
no
womb.
clue where he was.
He looked like he was in a Thriller theme or a music video. You know, just
Looking like Pinocchio when he first got his strings.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wait, going back to the fastball, do I get to accessorize beforehand, or is it just like no?
So you
like,
want to tape your ribs up?
Step up there and take over
I'm bubble wrapping, like flak jacket.
No. Whatever you need to play that sport, that's what you get. That's it.
Just put,
How many years do you get to prepare for that? Like, is it like the next day or like?
Yeah,
is it
it's the
gonna be-
next day. It's the next
Oh,
day.
so like you can't.
You know.
So like I can't like eat and like look like Babe Ruth in 2 years. Put some extra padding on there.
You're buddy, you're going out there with your Leechburg jersey and your 3/4 fucking jersey out there, and you're getting ready to
No. It'd still be the Randy Johnson fastball, but it's a no-win for anybody.
Yeah. All right. Final thoughts. Great episode.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Like
Thanks
always.
again, Josh, for coming on. Jags expert.
Me? It's a pleasure.
Yeah. I mean, if the Steelers face the Jags somehow in the playoffs this year, we'll have to do a special preview episode for that. If that happens, we'll also all be playing the lottery, just as a forewarning. But, thanks for coming on. Another great episode. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and like and subscribe to us on YouTube, too. It helps out a lot.
And Spotify, too. So we're
Yeah.
on Spotify. Yep. All right. Youngsters episode, whatever. I think 5. So,
4.
yeah. All right. See you guys next week.